What's up, guys and gals? And though it's late, it's still technically, at the time of recording, the latest piece of One Piece. Chapter 1176, entitled With Pride. And what a beautiful, nice color page here we have of all the Straw Hats just doing their thing. Looking pretty awesome, just looking amazing, just having a good time, you know, in a mountain of pirate-esque treasure and such. It's nice. It's a good color. But moving on to the chapter, so we have Frankie is actually going to get an upgrade. Frankie might actually do something, and I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Of course, Vegapunk here. Well, Lilith, the Vegapunk Lilith, is here going like, oh, well, wait a minute. Have you ever considered you've been running off of regular cola this whole time? Your designs are amazing. Your body is incredible. There's nothing wrong with your designs. It's your fuel source. Why have you not thought of, hey, I'm just a gas engine. Let's go diesel. You know, like, seriously. That's all Lilith points out. Now, at first, you would look at this like, okay, why hasn't Frankie thought about doing something like this in the past? But that's the crazy thing about genius, and it's the crazy thing about becoming an expert or a master of your craft, is that sometimes you overthink everything. I literally just did this today at work, and my brother who works with me had to point out, like, hey, why don't we just do this? And I went, because I didn't think of it. It's so right there in front of your face, but you assume that every problem has 19 components when you work in the industry, that you don't think of it in simplistic terms when you're constantly troubleshooting 100 issue problems. And that's exactly, I think, what happened with Frankie. Frankie was so focused on his enhancements and his upgrades and how he could get more power, more of this, more of that. He just didn't stop, look back, and just look at the basics and say, my fuel source. What if I upgraded that? All this is a beautiful, wonderful, super form, right? It's just what's fueling it. So I love that part of the chapter. Like, you know, it's like, why haven't you ever thought about doing this, you know, sort of idea. Now, I do like that we jump immediately over. We're sort of checking in on all the Straw Hats. So we check in with Frankie and Lilith and all that stuff. And then we have Usopp, of course. The building's on fire. The building's on fire. You know, the wolf is left. 3 pigs. Blah, blah, blah. You know, we're having Usopp do Usopp level stuff. Robin is checking in on Saul. And, of course, they are attempting to put out the fire of the library now that everything has gone to shit for the Celestial Dragon's plan, for the Holy Night, the God's Knight's plans. And immediately Nami's like, yep, Zeus incoming, let's go. And Zeus is like, absolutely, we are here. Like, I've absorbed plenty of water just like you asked, and it's a pouring rain tempo. And she's flooding this place. It's like rainstorm style. Let's go. And it's working to a degree very well. Of course, because most of these books are from Ohara. Saul recognizes this and says, you know, all those books from Ohara, you know, we cannot let them go. Like, I'm so sorry I couldn't protect them and all this stuff. And then immediately Killingham jumps in here and goes, oh, but my dream creatures will, devour you and stuff like that. So it's one of the dream creatures, the Lindworm, a type of sort of a salamander-esque dragon that devours Zeus immediately, like chomps down on Zeus. And it's just like, wait a minute, what? And even Nami's like, wait, what happened there? And this is where both Jinbei, who of course I'm like, well, it's great that Nami was doing that, but it's like, Jinbei, Fishman karate, a little bit of water manipulation, my guy. You know what? This is your forte. As I said, Jinbei might be technically 4th strongest. Still give him 3rd, but he might be 4th strongest on the crew. But put him in the water, and I'm just saying, that scaling sort of changes, is all I'm saying. So I'm like, Jinbei, this is your time to shine. Put out the giant, literally a giant fire. Like, showcase your stuff. Immediately, those energy wheels that Lilith was showcasing to Frankie jump through, and boom, the fire's being put out immediately because of these things are giving off frost pellets. They're like turn dials that are just like pum 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 pum, and they're just giving off collecting all the heat energy and zapping it and just taking it in, and everything's freezing over as a result. You're right, and this is where it's like, okay, I think we're doing all right. This is where, as I said, Lilith says, "Here, try using that. It's a bottle of Super Vega Cola." Like, I've increased your idea of utilizing it and stuff. You are as advanced as any of the pacifistas that I've designed or that have been designed. So the fact that you've just been using regular cola this whole time and keeping up with them, here, try this as a fuel source. It's like, fuel is passion. Use this stuff, and your raw power will explode, baby. And I'm just like, yep, I'm here for it. So Zeus is okay. Zeus has just been swallowed up by this Linmore, and he's like, help me, Nami, please. I'm scared of the dark. I don't like this. And Nami's like, oh, shit, Zeus. And I was sort of like, my only problem with this chapter as a result of that is like, okay, obviously it's Zoro and Luffy's job to beat up the bad guys, right? That's their job on the crew. But the loser trio is always being sort of put to the wayside, like they can't do anything, like they're just not on the level to be at this late stage in the game without hockey, without some type of fallback. The upgrade Nami got was literally one of a Yonko's homie getting Zeus, one of Big Mom's personal homies, and they just won't let her shine. Like, that should have been the answer. I know we're trying to showcase Frankie and we're trying to showcase other people and Jinbei and stuff like that, but just let Nami take the W. There was no reason to just immediately go, oh, Nami's going to save the day. No, she's not. And it's like, okay, when is she supposed to save the day then? Because she's never going to fight off a commander. She's never going to fight a Yonko straight up or an admiral or anything like that. So this, her job on the crew, of course, is navigator, but like she got the power upgrades and it's sort of lacking. So that is my one gripe with the chapter, is that by saying, okay, it's not the Luffy and Zoro show right now, so let's showcase every other Straw Hat all at once and make them all contribute to something that one could have just solved. Jinbei could have solved this. Frankie could have solved this. Nami could have solved this. But instead, we need this group effort. And ideally, on paper, that sounds good. Straw Hats are a family. They're a crew. They're nakama. Yeah, they work together to solve their problems. But it's like, it still means that it becomes the Luffy and Zoro show, which favorite characters right here, top 10, but of the whole series. But there are still other crewmates that deserve their moment to shine and not have stolen glory, that everything has to be a team effort if your name is if you're not the captain or the first mate. That's all I'm saying. So I think this moment was a little bit stolen, because the end result is still the same. The Lindworm goes for the library to try to eat it up and erase it, and Saul and Robin are like, oh my god, and Jinbei jumped in the water, and he's like, I'll rescue Zeus, Nami. My fish should be enough to make that beast throw up. So he's gathering his power, Fishman karate style, which, great, cool. Sanji is going forth like, killing him. You will, go down, for the crimes of being ignorant of Jinbei, former warlord of the sea, insulting a member of our crew and stuff. And Sanji's giving his big spiel, but this is what I'm talking about. Other than Brook, every single other member is here for this group effort. And it's just like, you can look at it like, I'm not saying it's the worst thing to have this team effort go this way, but individual showcasing outside of the supernovas would be nice. Just once in a while. A chapter where it's just like, Nami saves the day. Period. No ... No asterisk. Period. That was my only issue. Not that I didn't enjoy this, because, Jinbei's working and stuff like that. And what's funny is the reason Sanji gives this speech about Jinbei. And, of course, he's mad at being number 4 on the crew currently. But even he's like, wait, whoa. Because Killingham's like, it's a fishman. How ugly. I'm going to puke. What are you going to do? And Sanji's just like, have you ever left Marijoa? Ever? I know you're Celestial Dragon and all. But that's Jinbei. Like, OG warlord. You know, first son of the sea. And the helmsman of the future pirate king. Like, you don't know who Jinbei is. And you came here expecting to talk shit, do shit, and talk shit. So Sanji's just like, I'm on Sanji's side here. I'm like, Sanji's balling. He's like, I'm going to list the titles Jinbei is. The fact you don't know who he is just means you're an idiot. And we're all going to prove it to you right now. And I'm like, Sanji, keep spitting, because you're not wrong. So we get Super Frankie with a we get super strong Dexter, we get Fishman Karate Secret Art, we get Iframe Jumbe, you know, Konkasa Crush, Vagabond Drill, the whole bit, and this Lindworm just goes down to a triple attack from Frankie, Sanji, and Jinbei, of course. As I said, as a team effort, as a crew effort, the glory days keep on coming. And it was actually absolutely wonderful. Then we jump over to the final scene of the chapter. This chapter is actually quite structured very well, where it's like, okay, here we go. We're doing group effort with this crew, then we're going to showcase Zoro, Dory, and Bragi in the next one. And I have questions about this. I haven't had the time to go back and double check everything. Probably just going to watch Tekking's review over the weekend to figure out exactly if there's any inconsistencies here, or if it's like, there's got to be more to it, because Dory and Bragi are at their wits' end, you know, but they seem to have retained some of their, after being slashed down by Zoro, or their own weapons, because Zoro, like, countered them. Dory and Bragi seems to have regained some level, just like Rox did, some level of who they are. And they're just like, you there? Yeah, I am. You know, I can't believe everything we've done, and they're on their hands and knees, but it's coming back. It's fighting us, because these guys, they're Dory and Bragi. They're just like Harald. They have the will of Elbaf. They have the warrior's pride. They can't be Domi reversing forever. So they're doing this, and it's just like, God damn, my boys. Like, it's crazy, but they immediately agree simultaneously, like, this, we had a good time. We had a good life, partner. You know, farewell. That century of battles with you on Little Garden was the best century of my life. Boom! And they each simultaneously cut off the other's head. And it's like, I know some people are going to call Dragon Ball, you know, bullshittery and stuff like that. They'll call, or whatever you want to use. But I will say, it's not like they died. They died for all of 2 pages. They didn't, Oda wasn't like, oh my god. And he didn't spend an entire chapter saying, leading up to the death with a huge monologue chapter to make us weep. And then, card out, no, they're alive, Resurrection 101. You know, that's not what happened. They had just a quick moment where, yep, we're giving it up. Let's do this for our loved ones, for our family, for our country. They do it. Captains go down, and they say they die with pride. And then, boom, the moment they go down and they're actually killed in Domi Reversi form, all of a sudden, they're healed, and the Domi Reversi is gone. As I said, I personally don't have the time to rack my brain and go through every instance of Domi Reversi and exactly how this works. But there's obviously some type of rules that go down here. And I'm going to watch Tekking's review on it, because I'm sure he's the one with the best theories anyways. You know, it's his day job, so he's probably figured out exactly what the most likely case scenario of how this goes down and the details of it. Because they come back. Not only are they no longer, they get healed from dying as a Domi Reversi, heals them, and then they still heal, but they come back not Domi Reversi. Okay. So everyone's super happy. It's a double page spread. It's awesome. And Zoro and the new Giant Warrior Pirates and Dorian Bragi and everyone are like, alright then. So, all we gotta do to get these guys back is kill them properly. It's like, yeah, we can't gouge out their hearts, and now they're making a game of it. It's like, yo, this is a real shame, and they're all cackling. It's like, don't take it personally, boys, but prepare to die, because we are the Giant Warrior Pirates, and it's looking awesome. You got Hiruden, you got, Dory, you got Bragi, you got Zoro, you got everybody here. I think Elder Jarl's going to get in on this. Like, it's just like, oh, guys, don't worry, we're here to save you. We're just having a good time, you know what I mean? The fact that they have to chop their friend's head off, but they're like, oh yeah, but this is going to save them. So it's all good. Boom! No hesitation. And I'm like, alright, guys, you do you. But yeah, the fact that obviously killing by chopping off the head, maybe it's specifically chopping the head off. Sort of like the reverse, almost a reverse Hydra here. You don't want to chop the head off, but in this case, chopping the head off kills the Domi Reversi and brings back the person to their original form. Like, why did they heal? Wouldn't they have healed with a severed head? So, like, I have questions, is all I'm saying. I'm a little confused. I have questions. What do you guys think? Because that's the end of the chapter. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And as I said, I'll be talking with, some fellow One Piece fans and stuff like that down in the reviews out. I'll be watching some other people's reviews. King, I'll be checking out Tekkings. I'll be checking out, whomever, just to see what everybody is saying about this. And maybe it's just something that I'm like, oh, duh, that makes perfect sense. Because it seems like, I don't want to say there's a plot convenience or a plot problem here, but it just seems so simple. And why wasn't this brought up before? And I feel like it wasn't Harald technically Domi Reversied and all this stuff, but he wasn't really Domi Reversied. He was more taken over because of the contract, so maybe that's a different thing. And anyways, alright, that's it for me, as I already said. So plug, and we'll see you guys back here hopefully next week on time for chapter 177. Looking forward to it. 1177. Looking forward to that one. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one. Sayonara.